Okay, so in this video, we're just going to simply go over tracing, how we suggest tracing and cutting out the ring set. Now, to start off with, you do get a variety of different sizes in the ring set, as you see here. And if you lay them inside of each other, you'll see that they fit perfectly. So when we go to trace them out, you can actually be pretty efficient with your paper as well. So for example, if I wanted to trace this big one out, basically I would lay it on my sheet of paper, my scrap of paper, whatever it is that you're tracing the specific design out on top of. And we're going to start by tracing the outside of the ring and then tracing the inside. Now, if you created a layout we're using two sizes, then you would just simply place the other one inside of the bigger ring and then just trace the inside of it. And you of course could do that for each of the rings. So like I said, a really efficient use of your paper. The other thing I do want to note, for whatever it's worth, is that you don't have to use these as rings. You can also use them as a circle by simply just tracing the outside and not the inside of the ring. Now, as far as cutting them out, basically, first, always start by detaching it from your bigger sheet of paper. I find that it's a lot simpler to handle if you're not also wrestling with such a large sheet of paper. Simply cut the outside of your ring, following your line. Now with circles, sometimes it can get off a little bit, but again, that's where the inking really comes into play, because it helps blends and kind of smooth those edges out. Now when it gets to this part, what we recommend is actually just to snip in and then go to the next layer. And the reason I want to show you that is because if you look, for example, at some of the ideas, majority of the time when we personally use rings, they're either tucking, so you can see it being tucked in here. So the part that you snipped is going to be hidden. Same thing over here. But even if you have, like here, there's just this little layer that's on the top. Same thing, this is going behind a border. This is kind of being tucked in. You can see them over here being used as bigger circles instead of rings, like I was mentioning, like a circle here. Again, being tuck, tuck, tuck. So that's kind of our go-to, and you'll notice that often throughout many of the samples. So that's the simple way of doing it. So when you see samples that we that we show, this is exactly how we are cutting out the rings. Now, of course, you could just use an X-Acto knife and start your cut. I don't find that as you know, easy as far as convenience to do such, but this is our little tip, and this is kind of what we suggest on how to cut out the rings. So you of course could do that, and then you would just go to the next one and do the same thing. And then of course I would ink the edges. But that is how we suggest to trace cut the ring set out.